the elder that was going to come and give us an opening prayer this evening is unavailable, and the opening prayer will be given by an elder in 2 weeks' time. Am I correct on that? Thank you. Pardon me?
Speak louder. Speak into your mic.
Speak into my mic. I'm sorry. As I was saying, the elder who was going to be giving us giving opening prayer this evening cannot make it. So next council meeting, an elder will be coming and giving an opening prayer. So our next item on the agenda is any amendments or adoption to our agenda.
Your Worship, I would request council approve an addition in new business under 8.6 under the heading of Strathmore Hospital report.
Thank you. Councillor Boakland, do you have anything to add?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Walls?
Your Worship, I do. Under questions between councillors and or to administration, number 11A, if we can allow Thomas Drive.
Okay. And Councillor Rempel?
Nothing, Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Fuel?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
And Councillor Peterson? And I have nothing, and administration.
8.4, we need to cross it off.
Do we need a motion to cross it off? No?
Your Worship, I would move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Any questions on that? Any discussion? None? All in favor? And carried. Minutes of the previous meeting of June 4th.
Worship, I've moved the council adopt the June 4, 2014 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Any discussion or any questions? Councillor Boakland.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't know how important this is. Under 8.8, under new business.
Yes.
It shows I left the meeting at 8:09, which I did, but I did come back.
You did.
No, you didn't.
And he did come back, and I agree. And so the minutes should show that he returned after the item was closed. Okay, thank you. Any other items? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. We have a delegation this evening, and if our delegation could come forward, the museum committee.
They've got to bring another chair.
Oh, we need another chair.
Yeah, I'll grab one. Sure, sure.
Good evening. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'm Lynn Fair, Josie Peters, and Rhonda Stockwell.
Thank you. You have our attention.
Okay. We represent a grassroots, standalone committee of citizens with a vision and a passion for establishing a museum to enhance this community. Although unfortunately most of Strathmore's history and artifacts have been lost over the past 50 years, we want to preserve as much as we can now for future generations. We realize that establishing a museum is a complex task, but we're starting by organizing bylaws, forming a society, and creating a foundation to begin the formal process. In many ways, we do not have to reinvent the wheel, as there's many established museums and guidelines to provide us with guidance. Our long-term vision is for the museum to be a tourism benefit for not only the town, but for all the residents of Wheatland County as a whole. We're very fortunate to be sharing in a vision that the Kleiber family had 30 years ago when they developed a comprehensive concept for Strathmore Heritage Park. Their plan was to build upon our rich heritage of the CPR demonstration and supply farm, which placed Strathmore on the map from 1908 to 1943. It was one of only 13 such farms in Western Canada. The significance of this farm to the settlement of southern Alberta is clearly established and recorded in our Strathmore history book. Bruce Kleiber has generously shared his original 1984 plan for an extensive heritage park, which was based on the CPR farm that then existed on both the north and the south sides of the highway. And although the town has developed in all directions since then, and none of the original buildings remain on the north side, there remains one large original barn in excellent condition on the south side of the highway. We feel that to establish a museum as part of a larger tourism concept which portrays the extent of Strathmore's history would be of great benefit. We've discussed the possibility of creating a replicated main street with the addition of any remaining local heritage buildings and including perhaps appropriate commercial enterprises, a farmer's market, and other attractions that would supplement the heritage theme. We realize this is a large and expensive undertaking, and that the Kleiber property and the CPR barn are not presently serviced by the town's utilities. Also, the rerouting of the number 1 highway will impact the access to that property. The town's future expansion plans for the east of the industrial district will hopefully be ones that we might coordinate with. We plan to invite public input into the visioning process and will develop marketing strategies that spread public awareness throughout the wider community. We know that preparing a needs assessment is vital to setting the direction this project can take. And we've already heard from many other community members who express concern about the loss of our CPR heritage. The town obviously recognizes CPR's significance because you've incorporated a steam engine in your recent logo. Well, we're grateful for the town allowing our museum committee to meet monthly here in your office, and we greatly appreciate the contributions of the present council representatives. We also have a representative from the Wheatland County Council as part of our team, and we've gratefully accepted volunteer assistance from a couple of staff members whenever we might require their services. We've spoken about using resources from the Wild Rose Economic Development Office, and we certainly are tapping into guidance and resources from the Glenbow Museum, the Museums Alberta Association that's located in Edmonton, the Historical Resources Foundation, and the Canadian Badlands Association. And because this town, the county, Siksika Nation, and 3 of our villages are already members of Canadian Badlands Limited, we see a great advantage to its support and promotion of tourism in southern Alberta. We envision the Strathmore Heritage Park and Museum project as fitting into the Badlands mandate, and also for there maybe being a possible source of future funding. We hereby request this council's support of this long-range museum project. And we hope you all share our enthusiasm and our dedication for a great feature that we feel will enhance not only the town, but the community as a whole. We thank you for your time this evening.
Do we have
We
any?
will welcome any questions.
Do you have questions?
Your worship.
Councilor Walls?
Yeah, Your Worship, not a question, but more a comment. I'm really excited to see this. I'm just wondering, I guess I do actually have a question, Your Worship. Are you planning on starting tomorrow on the downtown rebuilding over there? Is that what your thoughts were? Starting tomorrow?
On the downtown
On
which?
your downtown plan with the rebuilding of the CPR farm, you're planning on starting that tomorrow?
No, because it's raining.
Your Worship, this is extremely exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the plans you have, and really looking forward to seeing this build. So thank you very much.
Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion.
Before you make the motion, so you want to set it up as a society and a foundation. So it'll be a separate organization. It won't be under their purview or whatever word we should use in regards to the town or the county. It's going to be a separate organization. You'll be able to issue tax receipts for people who wish to make donations, and you'll be setting up your own board of directors and all of those things. Big job.
We have excellent guidelines from Museums Alberta on thinking about starting a museum, and it has horrendously wonderful resources and a workbook with almost anything that we might need and that we need to work through. It certainly doesn't say this happens overnight, but we've got excellent guidelines, and we certainly have already heard of assistance from the Glenbow Museum and some other places. And if anybody wants to look at the 3 concepts that were put forth 30 years ago in 1984, this is the original brochure I have here that the family actually sent out, and I've had this in my Strathmore history book ever since, that the Kleiber family in 1984 endeavored to get memberships to actually carry this forward. It's just that the 1980s weren't a really feasible economic time for them to pursue it, but they certainly had the backing of the town on this, and there was already lots of needs assessment and studies done environmentally and everything that of course have changed in 30 years, but we've got a base here, and we're pleased about that too.
Okay. No other questions? Then, yes.
Your Worship, if I may ask a question, what are you doing? Are you looking for current artifacts and museum items right now?
We've already had the donation of a very secure sea can, and when we start public awareness, we want people to know that should somebody in your family in the near future perhaps want to donate things, we have a secure storage that we can start inventorying and letting people know that they can start donating if they choose.
On the premise that if something doesn't happen with the museum committee, the articles are returned right back to the family. But I know there's probably a lot of things sitting out, and people wish they could just do
We'd also
something
like
with them.
people to know that, if they're planning their estate and looking for a place for some of their precious things that might have Strathmore significance or just historical significance in general, that we would be more than willing to accept them and catalog them and look after them, and they still would have the family's recognition and the donor's recognition all attached.
Good. We'll entertain a motion then.
Your Worship, I would move that the Town of Strathmore support in principle the work of the Museum Committee and continue to offer support in kind as we have. And in having made that motion and just speaking to it, I'd just like to mention that Rhonda Stockwell is chair of the Museum Committee, and I'm really grateful to the 3 of you for preparing this. It sets a good tone, and certainly the comments that came back from the county were wonderful from your presentation there as well. And Josie Peters is a librarian, and so librarians are invaluable when it comes to cataloging and recording. And so really grateful for the voice and for everything that you've done. I really appreciate it.
We're enthusiastic. Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
Your Worship, just I guess another comment too. I'm a little skeptical about museums in general, because I've been through a lot of towns in this province where museums aren't the most successful. But you guys are going about this a little differently, and your plans are they're really solid, and I love the enthusiasm, but more so, just love the direction you're taking on this, and I completely support you guys in this. I think this is great what you guys are doing. So thank you.
Last year we seriously looked at some other facility in town that we might be able to access, but that wasn't going to work, and so we've been very appreciative of Kleiber's input into letting us partner with them.
I think you're going to need another sea can.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's a responsibility.
Pretty
We have
exciting.
We'll have my support. We have a motion on the floor. No further discussion. All in favor? And carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is bylaws and 6.1 bylaw 1410 to rescind land use bylaw 8920 in its entirety, including all amendments, and adopt the Town of Strathmore land use bylaw 1410. Evening, Pat.
Hi, Pat.
And is administration bring? Oh, Pat's there.
I was being quiet.
Yes, you were. Okay, good evening. And the floor is yours.
Good evening, Your Worship. This is a first reading of a bylaw. Normally, a first reading doesn't include presentation or questions, but this is the land use bylaw. It's a pretty big document. It's a pretty big deal. And I just thought that I would take a minute just to tell you what the strategy is with this and answer any questions that you might have. The land use bylaw was adopted many years ago, has had almost 100 amendments to it, and doesn't reflect a lot of the new policy legislation and the direction of the municipal development plan, which was adopted in April. So what we're looking at doing is developing a brand new land use bylaw so that it'll be 100% rescind the previous, adopt the new. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that what is in front of you is perfect and exact and there won't be any changes. There'll probably be a gazillion edits and changes to it. It's gone through internal circulation. We've had several working meetings with all the people in the planning department to go through this. Betty Ann has been keeping meticulous notes over the years of the things that she'd like to see changed, or the things that we have trouble interpreting, or the things that are missing, and so we've tried to incorporate all those things in here. We've included a couple of new things. The licensed medical marijuana facilities is in here. It is something that just about every municipality is now putting in their bylaw. Rocky View, Wheatland, they've all done it now. It's to identify where a licensed medical marijuana facility would be located, because by not addressing it, it actually leaves it more open to challenge than by specifically identifying where it can be. This also includes secondary suites, which has been a topic for discussion in the town. We did include secondary suites as an opportunity in the municipal development plan. This outlines definitions, regulations, and where they would be located. It includes obviously a new land use map and addresses, as I said, a lot of the technical amendments that we have noted require updating. So I don't know if what we're doing, what the process we're proposing is now, when we get first reading, we will circulate this. We're going to specifically circulate it to the developers and the builders in town. We're going to send it to the regular agencies. We're going to hold off on the public consultation until September, because what we would like to do is we'd like to do a workshop, a consultative session where people can maybe go from table to table and say, okay, I want to build a duplex and I have to rezone the land, and how would I do this? How would I actually do it under this bylaw? Or I want to do a commercial building in the downtown. How does the development overlay bylaw, downtown overlay bylaw, how does all this work? So allow people to understand. You know, when we do with things like, we start with the Planning Act, and the average person couldn't care less what the Planning Act says. And then you get down to the Municipal Development Plan, and suddenly it's a little closer to home. When you get down to a land use bylaw, that's something that really starts to affect people, because you start to talk about fences and neighbors and proximity and that sort of thing. So we're really going to push the consultative work in September. And we may also partner it with bringing forward the downtown revitalization strategy. So there'd be two purposes for the consultation, hopefully draw a few more people. So I just wanted to know if you had any questions about this. I understand it is only first reading, but I just thought it was kind of an important document.
Questions? Councillor Blokeland?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair to Pat. I've only been sitting here for 4 years, but maybe you can enlighten me here. We just, back in April there, we approved the municipal development plan.
That's right.
And now we're looking at rescinding or putting in the new land use bylaw. Are they kind of tied together indirectly or directly, or?
Through the chair, they are
Reading through-
certainly indirectly tied very tightly together. The land use bylaw is really the implementation tool for the municipal development plan.
Okay.
We've got a general policy document that says this is for future residential, this is future commercial, this is future industrial, but it's through the land use bylaw that we actually zone it and approve the actual development that occurs.
Okay, obviously I didn't get to read through all of it, but
What?
it just seemed to me going through it here over the last couple of days, I was trying to specifically see what there's two different bodies here, and I was
That's
trying to see
right.
what the difference was.
And the municipal development plan is a policy document. This is really an implementation bylaw. So that's where the difference comes in.
Okay, thanks, Pat.
We'll entertain a motion, please.
Your Worship, I move the council give first reading to bylaw number 14-10.
First reading. No discussion? No discussion. All in favor? And carried. Thank you.
And I'd move that council refer bylaw 14-10 to the public hearing scheduled for September 17th, 2014.
No discussion? All in favor? And carried. Thank you. No old business being brought forward. New business, 8.1, Class 20B Jordan Nerve Swim to Survive Award. Administration, please.
Your Worship, in your council packages, council has a letter from the Life Saving Society indicating that the Aquatic Center came in first place under the Class 20B Jordan Nev Swim to Survive Award. The letter is in there just for council's information.
Any questions?
Worship, I move the council accept the letter's information.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item 8.2, flagpoles to the town office building. Administration, please.
Your Worship, administration has been looking into purchasing a new flagpole for in front of the town office building. The reasoning for the new pole would be to have our town flag out there. We have a provincial flag and the Canadian flag, but we don't have a town flag. So administration has received a quote for a new pole for $3,339. There is funds available in the administration budget for the new pole, and we're just asking for council's approval.
Any questions? We'll entertain a motion then, please.
Your Worship, I would move the council approve the purchase of a new flagpole for the town office building for a cost of $3,339.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. 8.3, development permit application 14D034. Planning. Good evening, Mr. Fisher. How are you tonight?
Very well, thank you, Your Worship. This is a development application that we've referred to council for decision. The reason is that the applicant proposes a dog daycare and grooming facility with training and incidental retail sales in a highway commercial district. You're probably all familiar with this area. It's a mix of different zoning, and the land uses are all pretty much the same. The technical issue is that what the applicant is proposing doesn't quite align with the definitions in the land use bylaw. That's going to be addressed in the new land use bylaw, but in the interim we do have a bit of a situation where there's less than perfect alignment. And we're proposing that this development be treated similar to veterinary services minor, which is allowed in the district, and we do anticipate an appeal on this matter. So without going into too much detail, the staff are recommending that the application be approved. The building is a condominium, so there's certainly opportunity for the owners of the building to participate in the management of the site and the appearance of the site. And I think the applicant has made reasonable efforts to deal with the issues raised by some of the co-owners of this property. Now, the applicant, Diana Eichler, is in the audience. Now, I realize that that's kind of a quick, dirty overview, but if you want me to go into more detail, by all means.
We'll entertain some questions, and Councillor Peterson?
What are the concerns of the occupants of the building?
Those are stated on page 146 of your agenda package. They've said that the entrance to the site is from Canal Garden, which of course is the cul-de-sac. And they're concerned that the enclosure / dog run will be visible from the entrance to the site, because the entrance to the site, in fact, goes to the back of the building at 1:30, as shown in the air photo. The other concern is about barking, odors from dog waste, and migration of waste from the site. What the applicant is proposing at the rear of the building is an 8-foot high chain link fence. On the outside of that 8-foot chain link fence will be 6-foot board, so that the fence is totally opaque. That will reduce the risk of barking, because dogs won't be able to see people entering the site, and they won't be able to see on the other side of the site. And the site itself, the enclosure is 7.5 meters by 30 meters in dimension, roughly 25 by 100 feet, and it'll be half gravel and half grass, and so that is the area that the doggy daycare will use for the bathroom, as well as for exercising the dogs. The applicant has indicated that she intends to use an enzyme-based cleaner on a regular basis to neutralize both odors and any residual impacts from the waste. As I said, our review of the application indicates that given the location, it seems to be a reasonable approach to managing the issue.
And how many dogs do you know would be on the site?
I can't speak to that. I mean, perhaps the applicant can.
We will be grooming, and we will be doing doggy daycare. We'll probably have up to about 22 in our doggy daycare. That's little dogs and big dogs. So little dogs have their own room. They don't tend to be as rambunctious as bigger dogs. So with bigger dogs, we're thinking maybe 15. They'll be cycled inside and outside. We have a pretty hardcore program with the dogs, as I'm a dog trainer. So the dogs will be played with for a certain amount of time, then there will be a rest period, and then there will be a feeding period, and then there will be more play. We're hardcore about the playing because it tires the dogs out and keeps them busy and keeps them from barking. And as well, we're training on site, so it's in our best interest to keep these dogs in order and keep them happy and clean for the dogs.
Deputy Mayor Sobel?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair. So I think it's very clear as to what the concern regarding subsection B is, and I don't mean to be facetious here or anything, but I'm still not quite sure what the concern is in regards to A. Is it aesthetics or?
Yes, I think it's purely that when you drive into the site, you're going to be looking at a dog enclosure, but you are approaching the site from. I mean, that's the way the site is laid out. That's the way the building is laid out. You're also going to see other stuff that you would normally see at the back of the building. And anyone that drives by it will understand that.
Thank you.
Any further questions? We'll entertain a motion then, please.
Your Worship, I move the council approve development permit application 14D-034 as a discretionary use, subject to the conditions identified in the attached development permit.
Discussion? I'm not sure who was first. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Through the chair, Your Worship, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. You said that you expected an appeal?
Yes.
Okay. And
keep in mind, if I may, this building is under condominium ownership. There's several owners, and half the condominium board seems to be okay with it, the other half isn't. So my attitude on some of this is, folks, this is a domestic matter. You know, the use is allowable under the land use bylaw without stretching it too far. The applicant's made a reasonable effort. If you're in a condominium situation and you have issues with one of the owners, then I think it's largely an internal matter that I don't particularly believe that the development authority needs to be involved in.
I see.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Peterson?
My question's been answered.
Okay. Any further questions? Go ahead, Councillor Boakland.
Thank you, Your Worship, through the chair to order. Just what you're just saying there now. Why is this in front of us then?
Well, it still will be appealed. This is the second time we've processed this application, and the applicant withdrew the application the last time, just before we went to the appeal, for some technical reasons. We're putting it through the process again, both to correct any deficiencies in the approval and to provide the people the opportunity to appeal. I don't want to give them the grounds that the appeal would be based solely on the exercise of the discretion of the development officer, that our exercise of discretion was inappropriate. The bylaw as written allows us to refer any development permit application to council for decision. And given the fact that this doesn't entirely match the definitions in the land use bylaw, we have done so.
Okay, good. Any further questions?
Is the owners in subject here, are they going to be, or the business applications here, are they going to be owning this property or are they going to be renting?
They're leasing. They're leasing from one of the owners.
Okay.
No further questions? All in favor? Carried? Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
8.4, concept plan for West Strathmore, planning and development. The concept plan?
Through the chair, this might be a bit awkward and.
Do it anyway.
Okay. As you know, I've been here as a contract planner for the last 12 months. My contract will be up on August 31st. One of the things that we have identified are some planning projects that we feel are a priority, and I say we, meaning all of the administration, not just me, should go forward. One of the things that it was identified in the municipal development plan was that we do concept plans for the recently annexed lands. They're very large areas with no direction, and in some cases, multiple ownership. In West Strathmore, it's 6 quarter sections, 21 owners, abandoned rail line, servicing issues. There's a lot going on there, and we have recently had an inquiry about potential rezoning and a development permit for a use that we're just not sure fits in the area. So what we've done is put together a cost estimate. I have put together a cost estimate to complete this concept plan by the company that I work for, and have it completed to you before December, because we think that with this one inquiry, we could be seeing more come in, and we want to make sure that we've got a comprehensive plan for this area. So we're proposing it as a concept plan. And Mr. Fisher and I have had discussions about should it be an area structure plan or a concept plan. The bottom line is it will outline, the plan will do some basic background research and outline the utilities, the major roadways, the school sites, the wetland areas, and identify the future land uses for this area. This allows each individual landowner to come in, make an application, knowing full well what piece of the puzzle they are and where they have to fit in, where their connectivity will be, how much land they might have to give up for a school site, and where the major roads are going to come in. It'll help identify phasing, and it will certainly help the town in their ongoing strategy for water, storm, and sewer servicing. So this concept plan will be a roadmap that the 21 owners will be able to follow as they come in with their own applications.
Okay, questions? Councillor Walz?
Your Worship, just Yes, you answered a lot of my questions. The only other question I have is any of the funds of the 82,800 going to be recoverable to the town?
Through the chair, that's a very good question. Yes, the proposal is that it will be charged back to the landowners on an acreage basis when they come in for their planning process. So we are assuming at this point that this concept plan will outline the work, the detailed work that will have to be done by the individual owners. So they'll have to do that work, but they will also have to pay for a portion based on an acreage assessment of this plan. So ultimately, the town will recoup all of this money. Now, it may be a while, but they will recoup all of this money.
In Your Worship, if I may, and the difference between this concept plan and the area structure plan is this is just an ideal, this is what we're thinking about doing. A area structure plan would be much more detailed of exactly.
Through the chair, an area structure plan can be as detailed as you want it to be. The basic premise of an area structure plan under the Municipal Government Act says you have to deal with utilities, transportation, land uses, and public consultation, basically. So that's why I say we haven't really discussed how it will be adopted. It could very well be adopted as an area structure plan. And a perfect example of that is Chestermere. In their annex lands, in their West Chestermere annex lands, just adopted what they called a master area structure plan for about 10 quarter sections that provided a basic concept. So it could very well be adopted as a master area structure plan, then allowing the individual owners to come in with more detailed plans. I'm sorry, to the chair, did I make that more confusing?
No. So I guess, Your Worship, if I may ask another question. So once you have this concept plan or area structure, master area structure plan, can a landlord then come in and say, I want to put housing in this area, and then we would compare that to our concept and say, no, that doesn't actually fit there?
Yes, exactly, through the chair. That's exactly what would happen. We would outline the major land uses. We would outline the access points. And if somebody came in and said, well, I want to do heavy industrial, and we say, well, we're really sorry, but we saw that as being highway commercial or residential or whatever we propose it as being. So it gives you a policy document to guide how you deal with all of those future applications.
Thank you. Any other questions? Deputy Mayor Sobel?
I guess I have to ask the question, and I appreciate, Pat, that the proposed, I like the proposal and I like the price, but I guess through the chair to the CAO, is this not something that should be tendered?
Have to admit, we haven't thought about it. I guess one of the key things is that this plan needs to be done, and we could look at, if you want, council want to tender or whatever, but it's really important we get it done, because we even have one request come in already, and
Absolutely.
so it's got to be done.
Absolutely. I agree completely that it has to be done. But I know we're under some regulations in regards to tendering of contracts, and I'm wondering if this might fall under that.
Yes, we could tender it out to a few companies and get a price. Whatever council desire.
Good to follow the rules.
Yeah, and I'll just make a comment because we don't have a motion on the floor as such. If it requires tendering, we must tender.
I don't know what the rules are. I don't know if it's mandatory or not. And because you're recouping the costs, I don't know if that makes any difference.
I'll check it out.
And that's a good question too. And that's,
I don't know.
yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Can we move that just thinking here. Can we move that this
Do that by direction?
Well, what do you recommend here, Dwight? That we move the motion to conduct the study?
Yes, and then it come
further
back
requires-
within a month.
Can you make the motion then, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, you betcha. Let me just find it again here. I would move the council approve the development of a basic concept plan for West Strathmore, and that this matter be returned to council in regards to the appropriate advice for contracting in 1 month's time.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried? Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Pat.
much.
Next item on the agenda is 8.5, which doesn't exist, so does that make 8.6, 8.5?
Whatever.
Okay.
Just
8.5/8.6 Strathmore Hospital.
Yeah, Your Worship, that's a matter that I requested to be added to today's agenda. And as council may know, we've had recent meetings with the Minister for Infrastructure in regards to possible improvements to the hospital. During these conversations, it occurred to me that there's a great many people that are around us that have a great deal of information pertaining to the history of our hospital since its inception in 1985. I've been councillor for 7 years and been fighting for for improvements at our hospital for 7 years, and I'm learning stuff that occurred in days gone by that I didn't know about. So I'm thinking it might not be a bad idea for our administration to try to put together a fact sheet pertaining to the history of what has happened in our hospital regarding the promises and the potential improvements. This is I don't think, and the reason I'm bringing this isn't a light, I don't think this is a small project. I think it's a major project that will use up considerable hours by whichever member administration decides to do that. So I wanted to bring it to council and make a motion, and that motion is that I move that administration embark upon a fact-finding mission designed to provide council and our citizens a detailed accounting of all major events pertaining to the plans and promises of proposed improvements to the Strathmore Hospital, and the report be prepared for council.
We have a motion on the floor. Questions?
Yes, Your Worship. Through the chair, Councillor Sobel. I think I understand clearly what your goals are in doing this, but did you want to give background for the Minister Drysdale's rejection of our and previous ministers' rejection of the efforts that have been made by previous councils to this?
Well, I think the whole idea behind this concept is to get everything on one page. As to I was present when Premier Stelmach made certain promises in regards to our hospital. I was present at most of Minister Drysdale's meeting last week when we dealt with potential motions or improvements. The present plan, and I wasn't aware of that. I knew there was a plan in place that was developed in 2006 for improvements, some improvements to the hospital, but I wasn't aware that, for instance, that plan had started in 1997. So in 1997, somebody got together, and this is what I want to know: who got together and said the hospital has to be improved? And then what happened between 1997 and 2006? And why are we now in 2014 talking about plans that started in 1997? So these are some of the questions that I'm trying to figure out. And I think that information is available, whether it's through our file with Alberta Health Services or through the archives of the newspapers or our own archives here in the town. But I think it will take some research to put all that information together.
Your Worship, I would support Councillor Sobel's motion in that I really believe that is what will put us in a position of strength in moving forward to support our citizens with better hospital facility.
Councillor Field?
Yeah, Your Worship, I'm totally in support of Councillor Sobel's motion. I in fact, in the previous council, I read a letter out from the minister in charge promising money for our hospital, and then seeing nothing come of it. And we know there have been photo ops and other monies promised, and it's all just withered away to nothing. So I think the more that we can get this information out and the timelines of it and show that there have been promises made and nothing's come to fruition, I think it's time we bring pressure to bear on the provincial government. So I'm totally in favor.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Carried.
Thank you.
Next item, there's no committee reports. No committee reports? No. Okay. And questions between councillors to administration, 11.1, please.
Your Worship, Dr. Stanford, maybe you can comment on on Thomas Drive. I was traveling down there, I believe it was Tuesday night. Lots of water is building up on that, and we're getting some more potholes and so forth in that. I'm just wondering if there's something we can, if it's obviously causing more damage to the current road or our underground infrastructure there as well, and what steps are we taking to starting to mitigate that?
Okay, when it stops raining, it dries up a bit, we can do some patching on there. And as you know, there's different grades and types of asphalt that's put on roads. Like on Thomas Drive, it's a coarser rock or gravel on there. And next year, when you put the finishing coat on, it's smaller and tighter gravel, asphalt. So it should make a difference. For now, yes, there's some water puddling in places. Staff have looked at it. And when it dries, we'll try to do the best we can.
Another coat's going to raise it up,
Yes, another inch.
which will likely. Okay.
So,
Keep going.
so your Worship, Dr. Stanford, then, so once you put that second lift on, the current storm management system up there, water management system is going to be able to handle that water coming in?
According to the consultant engineers,
Thank you, Your Worship.
there may be an odd spot that sinks a bit and have to be dug out and patched, but the majority of it will be good with the second coat.
No further discussion? Councillor Peterson has one.
Yes, through the chair to administration. Citizen Jonathan Moore is in council chambers tonight, listening to the meeting, and some time ago he brought up a concern, and we made some decisions around that regarding signage in the park, and I was just wondering where that's at, if we've made any progress.
Your Worship, we have been discussing the plans for the selfie competition that Jonathan brought up. Administration is working on that at the moment and hoping to bring it forward to council in a future council meeting shortly.
Thank you very much. And the other thing that I was wondering, some of my fellow councillors sit on the youth group and on SAY and SWAT, and I was wondering if they would be comfortable in bringing the issues that Jonathan Moore brought forward to council to those groups in terms of representation. Future. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Your Worship, sorry, I forgot to mention another thing. Also, when Jonathan came to council last time, there was discussion about council going to meet with the schools and talking to them about the provisions of the community standards bylaw. And administration feels that because it's the end of the school year, it's kind of hard to do that at this time, but we will be making plans for that starting early fall.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And that closes that area off. Council invitations. Any council invitations to be brought forward?
I'm still in, well, Your Worship, I'm still inviting any other council members who want to go in the dunk tank on July 1st to get a hold of me. You're all invited. The mayor and Councillor Fuel have been volunteered to join us. So if anybody's there on Canada Day, bring some money. Have some fun.
Speaking of Canada Day, we were asked as a council if we could come forward with any ideas that we could use to raise funds to make Canada Day a little bit more exciting. And council hasn't come up with any ideas. What do you think council should do to make Canada Day a little more exciting?
Jeez.
You can send us your information later. I will remind everybody that tomorrow evening we are holding, hopefully, I'm saying hopefully because the future can change things, but our first annual Let's Make a Pitch. Let's Make a Pitch is the same idea with the Strathmore twist to it of a Dragon's Den. And what we're looking is nonprofit groups to come forward with some way to enhance our town and to make a pitch to our 3 judges, notable judges. We have had business people, businesses, and individuals make contributions to this Let's Make a Pitch. And I believe we are right now in excess of $10,000 that will be given away to some nonprofit tomorrow evening. Tell your friends to come, watch, have fun. There is the admission is a donation to the food bank. Non-perishable tin food, whatever you wish to bring. That's what it will cost you to come and watch something that is exciting in this community, that is building a community that cares about each other and wants to go forward. Bring your friends. Let's have some fun tomorrow evening. There's nothing else.
Your Worship, just a quick comment on that. I'd really like to thank Dr. Stanford and his administration team for getting this ball rolling. It's very exciting. I know you've put a lot of time in this, Dwight, and I just want to let you know that I greatly appreciate that, and the staff.
So have the girls, yes.
Yeah, you should actually see how busy they are trying to get this on the go, I'll tell you. There. So anyways.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Move to adjourn on the floor. All in favor? And carried. Thank you.